Thank you so much for clicking on my video, and if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about Archetypes podcast, episode 6, Breaking Down the Bimbo with Paris Hilton. Let's get into it. Once again, thank you so much for clicking on my video. If you have not already, feel free to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on that notification bell. If you're interested, feel free to hit the join button below so that you can become a member. Becoming a member, you'll get to have lots of exclusive perks and exclusive content, minimum 2 videos a week, but on a rare occasion, 3 videos a week that are just for members. Also, you get the opportunity to help me curate content by telling me what you like, and I curate my content based on your needs as a member. Before we get started talking about Archetypes episode 6, I would like to go ahead and say a huge hello to my friend circle, and I'm going to curtsy to the royal court. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate everything you do. In addition to that, I want to go ahead and shout out everyone who has supported the channel. Thank you so much, but particularly Don Robinson Gales, Gracie Ifenwobi, Phyllis Johnson, Patricia Paisley, Nafisa Shabazz, and Elaine Lawrence. Thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough. Hello to the new members as well. I hope you're enjoying your membership. Don't forget to tell me what you want to see, and you will get that content. Let's get into the Archetypes podcast for this week, episode 6, Breaking Down the Bimbo with Paris Hilton. So we opened this episode with Megan explicitly talking about her time on Deal or No Deal, which, first of all, I wasn't sure she was ever going to talk about it. I knew it was a short stint. I don't even remember every job I've had, just to be real with you. So I didn't expect her to ever talk about Deal or No Deal. Really cool that she did, but she did confirm my suspicion that she did that job because it was a great opportunity and another way for her to break into acting, which is awesome. But it confirmed my suspicion that she was not 100% happy there. At this phase in her life, Megan just seems like she's in her element. When I've reviewed her movies on Fridays with my Movies with Megan series, she's always seemed so happy acting. She just seems like it's just part of who she is. I didn't get the vibe that Deal or No Deal would be satisfactory to her just because she is passionate about acting. She is passionate about her advocacy work and her philanthropy. I didn't see something like that where her essential aesthetic is more so important than what's in her brain would satisfy someone like her. She does operate from here. And from here, she's a heart-centered person as well. So I didn't think anything that was based on her looks, although she is qualified, anything that was based solely on her looks would satisfy her. It was interesting to hear her confirm that while still uplifting the women that she worked with and the organization. She did mention that one of the women who ran the show couldn't pronounce her name. They called her Markel. It's pretty common, and it's spelled in a pretty standard manner. If you know English, you should be able to look at Markel and see Markel. Girl, Markel. Anyway, she mentioned that on Deal or No Deal, her perspective was it was all about beauty versus being valued for what was in her brain. I mean, given the type of job it was, I can kind of see her making that observation. But she also mentioned that she quit because it didn't make her feel smart and she felt objectified. And all I got from this segment, this intro, was put some respect on my name. And for the most part, the rest of the episode was her basically saying that put some respect on women's names. Don't just look at them and say, okay, I know everything about you because of the way you look. Whether that's good or bad, whether that is or is not pleasing to you, the beholder, you don't get the opportunity to define someone based on what they look like. And we spent the episode dissecting that notion. So she had a few clips from Claire Malone, and Claire Malone talked about the Bimbo Summit with Paris Hilton, Britney Spears, and Lindsay Lohan, where they essentially kind of took back all the things that people were saying about them in the early 2000s when they were seen as party girls or bimbos. If you have not, I realize I'm old, but not everyone else is old. I lived through that time, and it was a fun time for fashion, dark time for women. Dark time for women in the media. That was around that time that Janet Jackson got maligned and completely singled out and mistreated by the media. It was around that time that People were saying Ashanti was better than Beyonce. It was a dark time for women. So it was around that time that people started just picking apart women in the media. Just women having fun was like a crime. If you got photographed or videographed, oh my gosh, y'all, I really am old. You got photographed or videoed or recorded going in and out of a club at that time, especially a celebrity hotspot, you were a bimbo. You got labeled, you got mistreated. I started thinking of women who I watched on TV or who I just kind of admired or looked at or took something from in the media. And I realized that there were women consistently combating this. You can't be smart and attractive. One of which was Janelle from Big Brother. If you've ever watched CBS Big Brother, you know who I'm talking about. Janelle, the living legend, the queen of Big Brother, my personal favorite Big Brother player of all time. Coming just before Taylor Hale and K-Sar. What up, K-Sar? And Howie. My top favorite players, Janelle, Taylor Hale, Howie, K-Sar, and Davon. In no particular order, except Janelle is number one. But yes, so I love Big Brother. But at the time, I started watching Big Brother during season 6. Right around the time that all this was going on. I loved freaking Janelle because she did not veer away from those stereotypes. She did not veer away from what she enjoyed or what she liked simply because of the perception other people might acquire about her, simply because of the perception that she might be perceived as dumb. And the whole time, while looking beautiful, while being fun, while being funny, while being bubbly and having energy, she was dominating the game. So much so that not just the men who had preconceived notions about her changed their minds, but the women as well. There was a whole little group of people, Cappy's crew. If you watch Big Brother, you know I'm taking it back. Cappy's crew who did not like Janelle. And all of their insults had something to do with her being blonde. All of their insults had something to do with her being beautiful. They were fans, but Janelle showed them what it was. Another character who really kind of stood out from that dumb blonde kind of motif is Samantha Jones. She was beautiful. She was blonde. She was beautiful. She was also older, which you didn't get a lot of representation of women who were mature. You only got that like 17 to 24. At 25, honey, you were old, hang it up. But Samantha Jones came in at a smooth 41, 42, 43 and was like, I am sexual, I am beautiful, I am a boss ass bitch in my business, and I'm smart, and I'm blonde, and I'm smart, and I'm beautiful. Take it or leave it, hate it or love it, I am me. Watching Samantha Jones kind of triggered something in my brain about people's perception, and she didn't hold back. She was owning who she was. She owned her sexuality, and it was good to see that, because at the time the popular trope was dumb blonde, and then you see these women, these gorgeous women, blondes and otherwise, out here completely doing their own thing, minding their own business, and living life to the fullest. It was important to have those counteractive narratives out there at the time when media was just so hell-bent on painting women, especially blonde women, a certain way. And of course the buxom trope, which we've talked about on another video, which I will tag here. Paris actually admitted that she was a little nervous to talk to Megan, but when she heard Serena Williams' episode, she realized it was a safe space. I loved that Megan took the time to affirm her that this is a safe space. And that is why she is made for this. As Beyonce said, she's built for this. She is built for this kind of thing. I loved hearing her say that to Paris. It was very clear that Paris was apprehensive. And as she talked about her experience, it became very clear why she probably was. She can't trust the media. It was good that Megan affirmed her. Paris talked about reclaiming her narrative. And the narrative that she's talking about is the character that she created. Essentially, when people were calling her spoiled, bratty, dumb, she played into it and she became a part of the joke. The thing I love about that, although I'm sad she had to do that, or she felt she had to do that, what I loved about it was that she owned it, and she said, you're not gonna make money off me, I'm gonna make money off me. So if this is how you wanna see me, watch me beat you at your own game. I love that. I've said for years, none of those women are stupid. They know exactly what they're doing. And it's great that she's coming out here and admitting to being part of the joke, being in on the joke. But what upsets me is the fact that there was a joke for her to have to acclimate to anyway. She did say that her time on The Simple Life was fun. She loved working with Nicole. And although she wasn't a big fan of the character, the actual show itself was fun and it was funny. And she described it as timeless. I have never watched The Simple Life, so I might actually check it out. She said that all of this came from when she moved to New York and she started getting written about in Page Six. Y'all know how I feel about Page Six. Anyway, when she started getting written about in Page Six, how they just kind of deemed her spoiled and kind of a party girl. She went with it. She also said that because of that, her parents, because they saw that she was sneaking out at the time, they sent her to an emotional growth boarding school, which we now know is part of the troubled teen industry. And there was a lot of abuse that took place. You can literally hear it in Paris's voice, how disturbed she still is and how hurtful it still feels to her to even talk about it. But how brave is she for talking about it and opening up? She doesn't have to. And I'm glad she made the choice to not only talk about it, but to advocate for people to know exactly what goes on in those boarding schools so that they can also continue to protect their children. She got there, they strip searched her. That from the onset lets you know exactly what you're dealing with. There is never a reason to strip a teenager or a child. There's just not. If you need to do that, I'm sorry, there's lawn work going on by my house. If you need to do that, their parent needs to be present and their parent needs to facilitate the search. I'm sorry, I will just never advocate for a child being disrobed, ever. So she talked about how because the place was so miserable, she built up she disassociated and she built up a fantasy in her mind about Barbie. And when asked why Barbie, she said because Barbie had everything. She had fashion, she was happy, she had a house, she had a pink Lamborghini, and she had Ken. She was happy. And so Paris leaned into this fantasy. But later, something I noticed, she discussed the effects of the boarding school. She said, they took away my childhood. She said that twice. They took away my childhood. This was after being asked why Barbie. And when she said they took away my childhood, I immediately thought she's living out the childhood she didn't get to have. A lot of access can put teens and children in that kind of place where they don't get to have the innocence because they're overstimulated. They have so many things to consume. It's kind of like with toddlers. When you want a toddler to sit still and to learn to focus, you don't distract them. So instead of giving them their entire toy box, you take 3 toys out or 3 games and say, you can pick from one of these to play with for the hour or for however long. And then once you're done, we'll swap it out for something else. It helps them learn to focus by not being overstimulated. But when they have unlimited access, they're going to go from thing to thing to thing. I want to be able to touch everything. I want to be able to try everything. I want to be able to play everything. And there goes the focus. There goes the focus. When you do that with teens who now have access, a lot of teens don't have $1,000 to spend on a night out. But when you have someone who is first of all, unsupervised or have minimal supervision, unlimited access, and then all these interests, and then of course the traditional teenage angst, that is a recipe for disaster. And it's interesting to hear the outcome and the other side of this, because when you think about the early 2000s, you typically think about those hideous, ugly Louis Vuitton clutches with the multicolors. You think about the mini jean skirts with little puppies, little teacup puppies in a purse. And you think about, the trucker hats. You don't really think about these people having full lives before that moment where they could be traumatized. And it's interesting to hear like how one of the most sought out people in the world literally was abused while still being famous. It's kind of like the Britney Spears thing. It's interesting to hear how those two things are connected. She talked about how she parlayed her Simple Life fame, something that was intended to embarrass her, make fun of her, into huge businesses. Like, she's doing a lot. They played a clip of her having a late night interview where he's like, what exactly is NFT? And in my opinion, it came off as if he was trying to trip her up, and she stuck it to him. She explained exactly what it was. This is her business, and it's interesting to hear that people still kind of talk to her as if she's stupid. They always talk to her as if she doesn't understand the sarcasm, or as if it's going over their heads. And I love that she doesn't take the bait. She just sticks it to him and keeps it pushing. You're not important enough to ruffle my feathers. I love that now she's decided to take her experience and turn that into advocacy work. She is now an advocate for child safety within the troubled teen industry. Megan made a comment during the episode where she said she wants her Lily. That was a really cute moment. She said, I want my Lily to want to be educated and want to be smart. And I think that's something we can all align with. We want our children to go out into the world and want to be the best version of themselves and not have to deal with the archetypes that plague us as women. Megan said that she once had an unrequited love. She was telling a story and she was saying how she had an unrequited love. And let me tell you this, whoever you are, Chris, I bet it sucks to be you right now. Listen, when she said that, I was like, I know Chris is literally just like, what the hell? She said she could not pay him to look her way. And I thought, what a brave thing to admit. Because listen, people have a thing about like never admitting those L's in public. I mean, I have had people that I liked, honey, like down, was in love with, and they were just like, hey Sharon, hi Sharon, bye Sharon, and just kept it pushing. And I'm just hi. Looking back, that's why I don't trust my young judgment. That's why I tell people, wait until you're 25 to start dating. Naivety glasses and look and be like, oh, you were the person I was finding. You know what? Also asked Paris if she was a people pleaser. And if she slips back into that persona that Paris created. And mind you, the persona was Paris behaving as if she weren't smart, acting dumb, and she changed her voice, her whole aesthetic, and just, she had sayings like, that's hot. And like she made her voice like octaves higher than where it naturally is. Like she changed everything about herself. She said when she was young, she was a tomboy, and she changed everything about herself. And Paris said, yes, there are times where when she is uncomfortable or nervous, she slips back into that character, which told me it was not 100% her owning the character. It was more so a defense mechanism. And she then went on to say, by creating this character, when people picked her apart or insulted her, she knew that they weren't insulting the real her. So she didn't take it personal. They were insulting the character. So it was a defense mechanism. Trust me, I know all about that, and I'm going to end this episode with some of my own notes and experiences that relate to this. So they did 3 segments of the 3 words. Her 3 words were when she was a little girl, when she was at the boarding school, and as an adult. When she was a little girl, her 3 words were fun, playful, curious. Now prepare yourself, because this actually crushed me. She said that at the no, I keep calling it a camp, at the boarding school, her 3 words were terrified, miserable, and lonely. Bitch, that made me want to cry. Like seriously, as a woman, her 3 words are strong, brilliant, and brave. Good for Paris. Good for Paris. So my notes were, listening to this and how they talked about how the media and just people and essentially men love taking beautiful women and trying to make them seem dumb, or taking even a bubbly, positive personality and trying to speak down to them and be condescending and very sarcastic. Let me just say this. There is a certain insidious need of certain types of insecure people, namely men who are insecure around strong women, who feel the need to humble beautiful women, who feel the need to humble strong women. They have this insidious need to be like, you know, there's no way you can be beautiful and smart. There's this need to like bring you down a notch. And it's not just men. It happens from other women too. but it comes from misogyny. It comes from essentially the patriarchal society we live in, where there's this, you can't have it all, and I'm gonna make sure you don't have it all. And so when you see a smart, successful woman, there's this need to bring you down a notch. It's the same thing that happens to Beyonce all the freaking time. Beyonce is smart, she is successful, she is beautiful, she can sing, she's talented, she can dance, she can essentially do everything that she sets her mind to. And people have debates every week. Can Beyonce sing? Okay, Beyonce can sing a lot of different genres of music. We've heard country, R&B, she can rap. She invented rap singing. She can sing everything, opera. She can sing. But you would think that Beyonce came out here and croaked a cricket sound and became famous, according to some of these people. That's what I'm saying. You just have to let people be stupid. Anywho, there is this need to humble, beautiful, brave, smart, successful women. I also want to say, it's not a crime to want to be beautiful. It's not a crime to want to look your best. It's not a crime to want to go into the world and feel like you are rocking shit, that you look good, you feel good, you're sharp mentally, like you can go out here and you can do and be and feel any damn thing you want to feel. There is nothing wrong with looking in the mirror and liking exactly what you see. The only caveat to that is it better be something you want to see. If you feel like you are pressured into being or doing or feeling or whatever something for someone else, don't do it. You will never be satisfied once you go down that road. And trust me, people are excited to give you their opinions. I don't give a shit. And you know the thing that people love to say? As long as your husband likes it. As much as I love my husband, and I do love him down, it's not about him. It's not about him. As long as I like it. As long as I like what I look like. And I want that for everyone, because it took me a whole lot of years to get there. When I was skinny, people talked about me being skinny. When I gained weight, people talked about me gaining weight. People do not care. People will talk shit about you anytime. You will never please everybody, which is why that is not the task. The task is to please yourself. Whether you are brunette, curly hair, straight hair, whatever you are, the goal is to like what's in that mirror, what's looking back at you. And if you don't like it, come talk to me. I will tell you I like it. If you need some validation, just call me, because I will validate you. Because there's no way in the world that everybody has everything to please everybody. People will literally project whatever they want onto you. It is up to us to protect ourselves from that nonsense. And I'm so glad we have podcasts like Archetypes. We have TV shows. We have books. We have a lot of media now that kind of evens that out and essentially kind of squashes that out, where we are able to be dynamic. We are able to be three-dimensional people. We are able to be fully formed, well-rounded people, and we don't have to fit into these negative ass stereotypes. What did you think of the episode? What did you think about it being Paris Hilton? I was very excited when I saw her on the roster as one of the people who were going to be on Archetypes. This episode delivered way beyond my expectations. Let me know what you thought about this episode. For everyone who joined my live yesterday, the weather whooped my ass. So it only ended like 4 minutes early. So we got most of that. But if you haven't seen the second part 2, I came back on my hotspot to finish the live. And I saw a lot of you there. But if you didn't, don't forget to go ahead and check out part 2 so that you can see the end of that 7 Deadly Sins game. That was a lot of fun. That was a blast. We should do something like that in the future. I really appreciate everyone's support. If you haven't already, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on that notification bell. If you're interested in becoming a member, hit that join button below. And other than that, I will see y'all next time.